If you're watching this, I hope this is the first video that you're seeing. If you're visiting the channel, it'll make the most sense to you. Obviously, production values are not at the top of our list of things to provide to you, but we're going to focus on content. And what I mean by content is information and experience garnered by myself and my fellow riders and friends over the past 50 some years of riding. That timetable should not exclude anybody who's young or new to riding. We're all in this together. And that actually leads me neatly into my motivation for doing this. It's selfish. I'll be quite frank with you. What I see is decline in ridership, and I want to see it increase because it increases public awareness. The more people that are on the road, and the more people that are on the road in two wheels, the safer we all are. So there you have it. I'm selfish as SOB. By the way, that smile is rare. This is my happy face. I call it my RBF. I get a lot of ribbing from my family about it. But, you know, I'll come off as a little deadpan and monotone from time to time, but hopefully you find the content enjoyable. So what do I mean by riding and accessorizing? Basically, it's, hey, what do I want to do? You know, do I really want a motorcycle? What are my motivations for doing this? What are my justifications for doing this? How do I sell it to my girlfriend, wife, family, or myself? What's the best fiscally prudent path forward? Basically, does this make sense for my wallet? And that is a holistic endeavor we'll dive into later. And then accessorizing, because let's face it, no bike is ready for you. It's ready for most of you. It is either because of the category, you like a standard, you like a cruiser, you like a sport bike, you like a low rider, you like a chopper, you like a track and trail, you like a hill climber, you do adventure touring, whatever your passion may be. Maybe you're looking for the most mileage you can get, you know, whatever it is. We're gonna dive into that. The other thing is, I would like to point out immediately, I have driven dozens of brands, ridden dozens of brands. I have no brand loyalty. This behind me is the first Harley I've ever owned. I'm enjoying it greatly, but I don't exclude metric or European bikes or home-built bikes or anything else. If you're out there on two wheels, you're good with me. Anybody that has a different stance than that, I would basically tell you is maybe not somebody you really want to spend a whole lot of time with, because you may evolve over time. You may start off as a diehard Indian guy and say, made in America and Indian, and if you're not Indian, you're not crap, and I don't want to talk to anybody else. And that might evolve. And, you know, as Harley has outsourced a lot of their components overseas, even though they do the majority of the assembly here onshore, you know, there's some guys that have changed their stance a little bit. I think the best bike for you is the bike that works best for you where it finds you in life. So if you are of modest means at the moment, and you're looking at a sub $1,000 motorcycle, and by that I mean all in, insurance, maintenance, repairs, everything. You can get in riding a safe bike for under $1,000, then that's where you are. And that's cool. You know, everybody started somewhere. I didn't start off with a full dress tour bike, and, you know, I probably won't end there either. I'll probably downsize at some point as I go on in years, you know, get something a little lighter, something a little more nimble. My daughter had a Kawasaki Ninja EX250. I had an absolute freaking blast riding that thing when she asked me to sell it to her. I almost bought it from her. So obviously I'm not biased in that regard. You know, I'll ride whatever thrills me. I'll ride whatever interests me. I'll ride whatever I just want to investigate. Maybe it's not a good bike for me, but, you know, it's a purpose-built bike. And I just don't do that kind of riding. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate what the bike is and, you know, what its strengths are. So if you aren't a single lever voter, And I don't care whether you're blue, I don't care whether you're red. You know, basically what I'm saying here is if you have an open mind and, you know, are looking to see both sides of the story, I think you've landed somewhere where you're going to feel more at home, and we'll dive into that. So again, doubling back to accessorizing. I have not owned any bike that came from the factory with everything I ever wanted, or the way I ever wanted it. And that was either I wanted to remove something they had put on there that wasn't working for me. A case in point, the Harley Electroglide. I thought my entire riding life I would want a heel-toe shifter. And I was going to die. I had a 2002 Honda Shadow. I was going to die if I didn't get a heel-toe shifter on this thing and figure out once and for all whether I wanted it or not. And I wound up sold the bike before I ever got to that point. So when I bought this Electroglide, which is undercover, and we'll get into why that's undercover a little bit later, it came with a heel-toe shifter. The very first mod I did was take that frickin' thing off. It encapsulated my left foot, made my left foot captive, you know, impeded my ability to respond quickly to things. And I realized after, you know, 45 some years of wondering whether I wanted a heel-toe shifter, I did not want a heel-toe shifter, at least on that bike. You know, maybe there'll be another bike later on where I decide that's a good fit for me, but in this bike, it's not. So, you know, that's the kind of breadth and depth we're talking about here. I tend to err on the side of value, and I use value rather than discount or cheapness or bargain or anything like that, because what I have taught myself painfully over time is saving money on the front end is not necessarily saving money on the whole endeavor. And again, this Electroglide will provide an example of that later on as we dive in future episodes. So again, you know, I welcome you to the channel. I appreciate you looking. If you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be absolutely awesome. There's no pressure. Again, my motivation is more for getting more people involved in sport because we seem to be going the way of the dodo. You know, there's less of us out there, and with less of us on the road, there are less people campaigning for safety. And by that meaning, this thing in my hand right now, the cell phone, I don't want to see this in front of anybody's face while they're driving beside me down the road. Having it on speakerphone and talking into the phone is not the same as hands-free. And even hands-free for the best of us, even for the youngest of us with the, you know, really quick synapses left in between our left and our right ear, you know, you're still partially disengaged. I want people to immerse themselves in the driving experience so they're aware of the riders. I want the riders to immerse themselves in the riding experience so they're aware of the drivers, and everybody's safe and everybody has a good day. You know, you can go about your ride in a variety of fashions, but nobody seems to agree, nobody seems to disagree that if you're involved in a wreck one way or the other, the cause or the victim of, that's any kind of a good result. So, you know, safety is going to be an undertone of this, hopefully without, you know, droning on and on about it and making everybody crazy with, you know, PSAs. So once again, thank you for taking a look at this, and give a brief word about the cadence of release of content. I may not get to the point where this is a monetized channel. I don't care for any of the channels I've had subscribed to that turned into a money grab. That just got really annoying for me. You know, if I see a really cool affiliate, what I'll probably do first is just point it out to you. We're located on the mid-Atlantic at the East Coast of the United States. So if I see, you know, a bargain or a good service or dealership or something out here, you know, I might point it out and it'll be geographically specific. But I really don't like to say, hey, buy Joe Blow's Miracle Wax because it's just the best on the planet, when we all know that we've all seen most of the waxes that are out there, and we know there's not a real replacement for elbow grease at the end of the day. I don't abhor money. I like money because it allows me to buy gizmos and gadgets for my bikes, but I don't want that to be the focus of this channel. What I want to be the focus of this channel, again, is getting you out there to ride, feeling comfortable with riding, and advocating riding. Because if you feel good about riding, if you go out there and you have that deep meditative experience riding, a mental reset. A lot of us who ride are in information technology. It is a mental and sometimes physical grind, and riding is that reset button that just kind of reconnects you with the world. And I'll go into this in a little bit deeper detail later without going all zen on you. But basically, what riding can afford a lot of the people, at least 75% of the people I talk to, is it is the yin and the yang. It's juxtaposed, whatever. They're deviating from the RBF again. You're simultaneously completely disengaged from the rest of the world while re-engaging with it at like 110%. I hate numbers over 110%, but it just gets everybody's attention on another level. So what does that mean? It means you're tuning out all the fluff. Your mind is absorbed in the moment. You're getting all this sensory input. You're getting, sounds from the traffic behind you, beside you, in front of you. You've got the sensory input from what's in front of you in your mirrors. You feel the rumble of another bike next to you, or a car, tractor trailer, whatever it is. You're processing all this stuff in real time, and you're making adjustments. There's not a lot of room in that moment when you're engaged, and that's the proper amount of engagement for riding, to let the daily grind, that background noise, interject into your riding experience. And that brief intermission in life is very refreshing. And those who already ride generally have an idea of what I'm speaking about. And those who don't yet may receive that in some other way. Maybe you're a runner, a weightlifter, or you're engaged in a hobby. You fly radio controlled aircraft or boats or cars or something, where you just have to be almost completely present, and you realize that what sounds like stress is actually relaxing. So we've already run a little long here. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, other than to say again, thank you for taking a look. And our release schedule will be lax, maybe one a week, maybe one a month, maybe one every 2 months. The goal isn't to get monetized. The goal is to get out there and promote the sport, hobby, activity, what have you. Talk to you later, and be safe. Namaste. Bye.